Hello, welcome to the Nautilus Project podcast. This is a series of talks that we're bringing you in collaboration with the Nautilus Project to find out everything there is to know about what they are doing and how right here in Gibraltar. I'm very happy to be joined by co-founder of the Nautilus Project, Luis Tañeto, who's just going to explain a little bit more about what you can expect in these podcasts. Thanks for joining me, Luis. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Thanks for having me, Michelle. As a marine conservation NGO based in Gibraltar, the Nautilus Project does a lot of work educating and also researching a lot of the climate issues that affect us and how they affect the marine environment. And the purpose of the podcast is really to connect with experts around the world who specialize in very key areas to do with climate change and conservation, to allow them to explain why the work that they do is so important in maintaining our oceans.
Well, I'm really excited to get going with this. Thank you guys for watching and for listening on all the podcast platforms. We're also going to be coming at you via the Nautilus Project podcast on YouTube and on the Sofa with Rouge on YouTube too. So stay tuned. We're going to be telling you a lot more, everything you need to know. So good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Nautilus Project podcast, where we're talking to scientists, conservationists and marine biologists all over the world. And today I'm delighted to have Dr. Cathy Lucas, who is an associate professor of marine biology at the University of Southampton. Good afternoon, Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here.
And I've heard quite a lot of you from Luis. So Luis Tañeto from the Nautilus was one of your students. Is that correct?
Yes. He did the marine biology degree here at Southampton. I can't remember when, actually. It's a little while ago. But yes, he was one of the students here, and I remember him very well.
Great. Well, he's remembered you, and he thought it would be a nice idea if we did a little podcast and found out a little bit more about what you're up to these days.
Right.
So my first question would be, how did you get involved with marine biology? From what age did you like the sea, and how has this led to you to dedicating your life to it?
Okay, so I've always lived near the coast. My earliest childhood was growing up in North Wales.
Okay.
And I suppose my earliest childhood memories would have been, it's beautiful coastline up there, beautiful rocky shores, and one of my favorite sort of hobbies and pastimes was rock pooling.
Okay.
And so I would, we'd go to the coast a lot, and what I used to like to do was like go on the beach, find a really nice rock pool, and I would try and fill it with lots of animals from all the other rock pools on the beach, and that really stuck with me. And then we moved to Kent, completely different type of coastline, but on holidays, I still did that. I always liked nature.
Yeah.
Just all aspects. I used to walk in the woods a lot, but I guess marine biology, the sea always drew me back. And so I did a zoology degree at Swansea University. Okay. And then I came to Southampton to do my PhD, and that was in marine biology. So.
And when was that? When did you start at Southampton?
Oh, I've been here in 1989.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. No, I have been here a very long time. So after, in between Swansea and here, I thought that I wanted to do marine biology. So I took a gap year, and I travelled around Australia and New Zealand. I went backpacking around New Zealand, but I also had a job at the Australian Institute for Marine Science up in Queensland for 3 months.
How interesting.
And everyone thought, oh, wow, you're going to work on the Great Barrier Reef. But actually, I was working in mangroves and so really hot, really sweaty, really humid, full of animals. But, it was an amazing opportunity. So that really cemented my desire to pursue marine biology.
And what is it that you do now? So you're a lecturer at the university?
Yes. So I'm a lecturer at the university. I teach all both undergraduate and master's students. I supervise PhD students. So one of the courses, I'm trying to think actually what I taught Lewis. I think I probably taught him in the first year, so like a general introduction to marine ecology class. I now run a zooplankton class for second years. And then the other, I suppose, interaction I had with Lewis, particularly when he was a student, is we used to take our marine biology students to Bermuda for a tropical marine biology field trip. So I would have been on that trip with Lewis. So
Well,
yeah.
that's not too shabby, having to go
That's
to
not too
Bermuda
shabby
to
at
do a
all.
bit of research.
Lots of hands going up for
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. So what are you doing at the moment? Apart from your teaching, are you involved in any research at the moment?
Yeah, so I've had a long-standing collaboration with a scientist in Australia called Dr. Kylie Pitt, and she and I have done. So I work on jellyfish and jellyfish blooms, and we did a book together in 2014, and in 2023. I had a sabbatical. I went out and visited her in Gold Coast in Australia. And we had previously been involved in a big global project looking at, I suppose, the global trends in jellyfish, because there was a lot of, I suppose, public and scientific sort of speculation that they were increasing, that problematic blooms were increasing in frequency and magnitude. And I know, obviously, in the Mediterranean, that can be a real problem for the tourist industry and for aquaculture. And we were involved in a big global project. But when I went to visit Kylie a couple of years ago now, we decided to sort of like redo it. And so in the original papers that we produced in like 2012, we analysed about, I think it was 37 data sets for this big global analysis.
Yeah.
And now we've contacted scientists from all around the world, jellyfish scientists, and got data sets. And I think we have 150 data sets now. And so we're working our way through that. So that's one project I'm doing. I'm also busy. So the next International Jellyfish Bloom Symposium, which is every 3 years, is going to be in Cork in Ireland. And I'm co-organising that with a colleague called Dr. Tom Doyle. And so that's going to be in July this year in 2026. And so we're busy getting ready for that as well, and inviting all the scientists from around the world to Ireland in July. So
what have you discovered about these jellyfish swarms? That we have them here a lot. I mean, it's a real problem because we've had different kinds of jellyfish as well, and they do plague our beaches. Gibraltar surrounded, as you know, by the sea, and we have beaches on both sides, and they do plague our waters. And sometimes, it's impossible to go swimming. We actually have a purple flag that we fly on our beaches when there are jellyfish swarms, and it's usually when the sea is a little warmer.
Yes. So, I'm familiar with the issues that the Mediterranean has, so Gibraltar, Spain, Italy, Malta, I know have a lot of problems with them. So in particular, there's the mauve stinner, Nautilus, which has got a nasty sting. And so I know that causes real problems when they wash up on the beach and things like that. I suppose one of the take-home messages we had from the global analysis we did in 2012 was that there are pockets of the world where there are problematic jellyfish blooms. So places like the Mediterranean, Southeast Asia has the giant jellyfish that has a real problem for the fishing industry over there. Because, the giant jellyfish, they're huge, they're sort of like, they can be 2 meters in diameter. And so like I don't know, 20, 30 kilos. And so when you get a big bloom of those, they cause the nets to break and the boats to capsize. But I suppose our take-home message was that those incidents are not, I suppose, uniform around the whole world. So, if I give the UK as an example, I mean, yes, we definitely have years where we have, I suppose, quite a few jellyfish in the summer, but it's not massively problematic, and it's not every year. And I suppose that there would be limited evidence to suggest that it's happening consistently and getting worse and worse and worse. So I suppose that would be our take-home message, and I suppose that preliminary analysis of the data sets that we have at the moment is, again, if you try to analyze it at a kind of a global scale, then it's very difficult to identify any consistent trends. But certainly, if you look at specific regions and specific populations, then yes, that's when we're going to find those big differences. And the question of warming, I mean, that comes up a lot. It depends on the species.
Okay.
So obviously the Mediterranean, you've got some warmer water species, and so they might benefit from warmer conditions.
Yeah.
But if you have colder water species, so around the UK, around the north, we have the lion's mane jellyfish, which is what we would call a cold water species, and that doesn't like it. So again, it depends on where you are and the types of species that you get. And I know another problem with the Mediterranean is like invasive species that come in as well.
And is it because I have spoken to Lewis about it, and he gave me a bit of a, I don't know if it's true or not, I'm sure it is, that because of the plastic in the ocean, the turtles that usually eat jellyfish are now eating the plastic instead because they can't see so well, and that's why there's so many of them. Is that realistic to say that?
So many of what? So many...
That there's so many jellyfish because the turtles that eat them normally are now eating plastic in the ocean instead.
I mean, it is certainly true that that there's lots of photographic evidence that points to the fact that turtles accidentally eat plastic bags because they're mistaking them for jellyfish. Whether that is a reason why you might get more jellyfish, I suppose I wouldn't be certain about that, because I suppose the bottom line is that the turtles obviously don't want to eat those plastic, and they're not going to, if they can possibly help it, they're not going to continue to do that. You know, they are ideally going to eat jellyfish. I mean, there are a multitude of reasons why we might have more jellyfish, whether it's warming, whether it's currents, overfishing, those sorts of things. There's the other one is like human activities in the coastal zone. So not with pelagia, the mauve stinger, but with other species that have a little polyp as part of its life cycle that lives on the seabed. And they also like to live on artificial structures like marinas and pontoons and aquaculture cages. And if we have a lot more of that in the coastal zone, which we do, and ships and things, then that might enable them to spread their populations.
Okay. So apart from your relationship with Lewis, obviously, what is your connection with the Nautilus? Have you worked on anything together since the Nautilus has been created?
So I'm very aware of the project. Lewis, I guess a few years ago, was seeking my advice on, he was doing some work on jellyfish, actually. He had done he had made observations that there were certain jellyfish around Gibraltar that were different colours. And was like looking at whether it was a reflection of what they were eating, whether the pigment that different types of zooplankton might have in them were affecting or were being incorporated into the bodies of the jellyfish that he was looking at. So he sought my he got in touch with me and sought my advice on that aspect of it, on sort of like my brains about what I knew about jellyfish. So that's the sort of interaction that I've had with Lewis on that.
So maybe perhaps next time you need to take a group of young people on a little trip to check out the ocean, maybe you could come to Gibraltar, bring them to to sunny Gibraltar.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know. Lewis has invited me, and I haven't taken up his offer yet, but I must do that.
Well, Cathy, thank you so much for sharing what you're doing, and it's so lovely to meet you. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you.
And hopefully we'll see you in Gibraltar soon.
Yeah. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on the Nautilus Project podcast. Here in Gibraltar, at the gateway between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean, we're proud to keep exploring, learning, and protecting the marine world that connects us all. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, share the podcast, and leave us a review. It really helps more ocean-minded people find us. You can also follow our work from citizen science initiatives to seagrass restoration by visiting our website or connecting with us on social media. Together, we can inspire change and safeguard our blue planet one story at a time. Until next time, keep curious, keep connected, and keep making waves for the ocean.